Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of the day it is for you, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining in. If you're watching this back on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, thank you very much. I hope you are well. I'm Kyle, the Crystalline Mage, and I'm going to be talking tonight about Uranus Retrograde and the blue full moon. So I'm just going to let people roll in because we are live. Lots to talk about, and I've got lots of crystals to chat to you about tonight. So I would recommend grabbing a notepad because I'll probably be here for an hour or so talking about stuff. Good evening, Ireland. How are you? How are we? Hope you are well. Let me know where you're at, where you're from, how you're doing. Hello, Facebookers. How are we? Good to see you. As I said, I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes for people to roll in, and then I will get chatting about everything. So, yes, there's a lot going on astrologically, and yes, from the next couple of days, it's quite big stuff. Hello, Mandra. How are we? I hope we are well. Hope the week's treating you well. I hope we've been enjoying the slightly warmer weather we've been having in Perth. It's been very nice. Hello, Oklahoma in the USA. We love it. We are all over the place, and that's how we like it. Thank you for joining in. My name's Kyle, I'm the Crystalline Mage, and tonight I'm going to be talking about what's going on. So tomorrow, Uranus goes retrograde, and that's really quite interesting because it's going to join Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. So all of those big five are going to be retrograde as of tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we have the blue full moon, which is very exciting. Hello, Laura. How are you? Hello. So I'm going to talk first about retrograde. So Uranus retrograde starts tomorrow. Uranus as a planet governs things like equality. It governs things like the arts. It governs things to do with queerness, gay people. It has a lot to do with femininity. It has a lot to do with finding balance. It has a lot to do with the unexpected and changing our perspective on things and sort of tilting to the left, because Uranus is kind of completely on its side, spinning. So it's quite an interesting planet. So its energy is very interesting. And this retrograde is probably going to be the most subtle of the planets that are retrograde. So even though this is a retrograde, I don't want you to be scared or too worried. I don't want you to be too concerned. This is one that's a little bit more exploratory. It's a little bit more, I would say, sort of reading between the lines is the energy that you'll be noticing. It's going to be less obvious, although there will be unexpected things that will come up. Because it is retrograde, there will definitely be some really unexpected things that will happen in our lives, but generally it's stuff that's been building and been waiting to come up and out, and especially, as I said, in regards to sort of equality and things being balanced in that way. So this joins the energy of Jupiter, which is big growth, expansion, Saturn, which is that discipline energy, Neptune, which is kind of breaking through illusions, and then Pluto, which is that big generational shadow vibe. So the official date is tomorrow, the 19th of August to January 18th is when Uranus will be out of retrograde. So we've got a few months where it's going to be playing its thing. I'll just go through the dates because I think this is important and I want you to know. I wrote them down so I would remember the dates of all of the retrogrades that are happening. So the first planet that went into retrograde was Pluto. That went out on the 27th, and it's coming out on the 6th of October. Now, take Note in October, everyone. Saturn went on the 23rd of May, comes out on October 11th. Jupiter went in on 20th of June, comes out October 18th. So there are three planets that will be coming out of retrograde that have been in retrograde a while in October. So that's going to be a really good shift of energy for everyone. Pluto will be in retrograde, as I said, till the 6th of October. Then you've got Neptune till December the 11th. December the 1st. So even though Neptune's got a bit of overlap, there's a lot of them that are coming out in October. So a lot of this heaviness that we're working through with those Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, we can now, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, we can now work with Uranus's more subtle equality energy to bring a bit of balance to that. I hope that makes sense. That's just a little bit of a digress about all the planets that are retrograding, but I think it's important to know about what's going on with Uranus. And Uranus will hit everyone differently. This is another thing that I don't want to go into a deeper level because I don't know it quite, but it will hit everyone differently in their different houses. So if you know where Uranus is in your chart, if you can have a little look, if it's in whichever house, it will help you to understand how it's going to influence your life. So have a little look on one of those simple apps, find your astrology chart wheel, look at where Uranus sits, look at what planets are in there or what signs and all of that with yourself, and it will make sense. Sometimes you'll have a lot going on, sometimes there'll be nothing, but where it sits and what it's sort of looking after, whether it be family, whether it be work, whether it be career, whether it be love, all sit in those different houses. So that's how it influences us differently. I will now jump into a little bit about the full moon. With the full moon, so this is an interesting one because it's closing a portal. We had the blue moon, or the first full moon, which was at I think it was at 0.2 or 2 degrees in Aquarius in the sun sign of Leo. So it was really early. This isn't 2 full moons in the month of August. This is 2 full moons in the sun sign of Leo. Does that make sense, everyone? So we have the 12, the 12 cycles, the 12 houses, and the Leo is what we're in at the moment. Sorry for getting myself mixed up. And so basically it's been in that for the whole thing. So we've got moon to moon, full moon to full moon in Leo, and it's been opposite Aquarius. So it's been a double Leo, Aquarius, moon. So it's a lot of fire, a lot of stuff governing our will center, a lot of stuff governing our passions, a lot of stuff governing how we feel confident and self-assured. And then there's a lot of stuff that's going on with the Aquarian energy on how we think, how we find order, how we find equality, how we find balance, how we see the world. So there's a lot of conflict that we are all feeling, but also if we're working on finding self-assurance, if we're working on finding that balance, if we're working on making peace with ourselves and feeling good about ourselves and the decisions that we make, and sort of living for ourselves in that way, then I think we can find a lot of happiness through this tumultuous time. So not only are we feeling that build up to the full moon on Sunday, but then we're also feeling this pre-retrograde energy that's happening too. So it's a veritable clusterfuck, but that's part of it. We've got to be able to find peace in chaos. We've got to be able to find our own harmony. We have to find our own balance. The chaos of the world is kind of not never ending, but for the foreseeable future especially, it's going to be around us. So we need to find our own happiness, our own balance, our own alignment, order, as it were, amongst the chaos. Does that make sense, everyone? Does anyone have any questions? Before I go on to all of sort of the crystals and how they all help differently. Yeah, please. I know I went a bit rambly then. I was a bit excited. Too much information to get out all at once. But yeah, any questions before I move on? Please. And yeah, there's there's a bit of a throwback because I was also reading that Uranus was retrograde. It came out of retrograde in the middle of January this year, so it was on a really similar time frame last year. Yeah, exactly. Because of that Aquarian, I'm glad you're clear. Because of that Aquarian wanting everyone to be equal, wanting everyone to be on the same moral compass that you're on. It's a very Aquarian thing. I have an Aquarius moon, so I totally understand that. It's one of those things that can make us distracted from our own lives. So try as much as possible. This is your challenge. This is an Aquarian challenge, is to bring your thought into yourself as well. To be worried about yourself as a part of everyone else. Like, look after everyone else and think about everyone else, but also, how do I fit into that? Like, how am I doing my best for myself as a part of that whole thing? There's a lot that a lot of little things that can help on that path, and it's making lots of choices for yourself, making choices. There was a question on Facebook, Instagram, and it said, any tips on aligning ourselves, on actually aligning ourselves? Good night's sleep. That I can't help you with, because I'm a suffering insomniac, so I can't necessarily help you very well with finding a good night's sleep. But there are certainly crystals and things that do help us. As far as dreaming, you need to dream. If you're dreaming, you need to dream. It's just about writing your dreams down so that you can remember them. That's really, really important. It's one of those things that has a... There's no accident to dreaming. The dreaming is coming from our subconscious. It's coming from our guides. They're trying to tell us something. So it's really important to try and get a grasp on what they're trying to say, because we're not hearing them in whatever other way they're trying to talk to us. So keep a dream journal, everyone, by your bedside. And as soon as you wake up in the morning, write things down. I try to recommend as well, if you can do a bit of journaling before you go to bed, empty your mind and try and let go of as much as is possible in your head and bring that relaxation, because you go to bed stressed, you're not going to sleep well. If you try and empty your mind as much as is possible, then generally you get a better night's sleep. And then if you wake up during the night, don't stand there or stay there and toss and turn. Get out of bed, make yourself a cup of Milo or a hot milk or herbal tea, something that's just going to settle your stomach and make you feel nice and relaxed. Do a bit of journaling as well, and then go back to bed. A couple of tips that I've found that can work sometimes, but full moon weeks are a fucking write-off for me, and I barely sleep. But that's just part of it. Hi Carly, how are you? I'm ranting, I'm going off on tangents. But yeah, it's one of those things. How do we bring order to the chaos? It's about knowing that there is always order to chaos. That's the trick, is that there's never not order, even though things seem chaotic. Who here was visually, emotionally, and spiritually overwhelmed the first time they went to Southeast Asia? Yes, I'm a Sag with a Sagittarium, so I have 5 planets in Sagittarius, as well as my Sunstein. My moon is in Aquarius, and my rising is a Scorpio. Hi! In regards to the order and chaos thing, basically, I attribute myself to order and chaos. Organized chaos is everything. Like, it may seem chaotic, and it is a little bit chaotic, but there is order to it. There's no accident. Everything's happening in the right time. So the first time I went to Southeast Asia, I went to Kuala Lumpur. That city is massive. It was overwhelming. There was like 12 car wide highways, huge city, like just something I've never experienced before. But I never saw a car crash. I go to Southeast Asia and have been to Southeast Asia many, many times. And there have been a lot of places like as Thailand and is my favorite place to go. And it's one of those things that can be very overwhelming because it's loud, people are going really fast, they live a different life, and it seems chaotic, but there's total order there. They know exactly what they're doing, they're living their life, and it's It's just different to us. So that's just an example for me. But for example, you could, like, if you've been somewhere like a small country town, somewhere quiet, and then you go to a big city and it sort of seems like noise and chaos, but there is order and alignment to everything. So it's about knowing that there's always order. You just have to find it within yourself. You know, just because everyone's driving on the freeway doesn't mean they're all going to the same place. You're just in the same highway for now. You'll get off, you'll go where you need to go. So you just need to be patient because everyone's kind of going in the same direction, but not going to the same place. Does that make sense? And yes, I understand not being at peace on Indonesia. Totally understand. Being a queer person, it's not something that it's something I often feel uncomfortable with. But I hope that makes sense. Concerts, yeah, Concrete Jungle, that's a good one. Sorry, concerts. But that's actually another one. A concert or a festival, you know. There's a couple of different stages, there's food, there's drink, there's all that sort of stuff going on, and it seems chaotic and there's 20,000 people, but you can find order and have a really good time. Anyway, I could talk about order and chaos for days. I'm not going to. I've got a whole bunch of crystals here that I want to talk about that are going to hopefully help you with all that's going on. Now, there will be lots of crystals here that you don't know about or haven't heard about, and there will hopefully be lots that you do know about and can access too. I hope that makes sense. Oh, itchy palm. Hello. Okay, so basically, we're trying to find a bit of order and chaos. I'm going to start with something nice and simple for everyone. Smoky Quartz. If you don't have Smoky Quartz in your collection, you're doing yourself a disservice because it is just the easiest crystal to work with for grounding, for removing negative energy, and then feeling positive and buoyant. It's the crystal that works kind of like a tree works with carbon dioxide and oxygen, the way it transmutes and changes one thing into another so that it can be breathable and good again. Smoky Quartz removes negative energy. Removes that negative energy so it can then be replaced with positive energy. So even though it's a grounding crystal, it works throughout the whole body. It works through our emotions, it works through the physical body, it works through our mind and our thoughts. Buries it all down into the earth so it can be released, make it feel good. So even when things are crazy, even when things are chaotic, even when things are going all sorts of Pete Tong, or when you're going somewhere and you don't know what the energy's like and it's going to be all sorts of whatever, Smoky Quartz is your friend. If you're struggling to find that balance and harmony and you want a simple meditation that you can do, piece of Smoky Quartz between your feet on the grass or in the dirt. You want natural ground as much as is possible, please. And just visualize, close your eyes and visualize all the negativity draining out your feet into the ground with the help of the Smoky Quartz, drawing it out. And then feel that then replaced with good, happy, positive energy, whilst helping you feel grounded, supported. For me, Smoky Quartz is a great energy for boundaries as well. It helps us to have our boundaries. It helps us to define them, helps us to know what they are within ourselves. This is a conversation that I've had a million times recently. What's the difference between walls and boundaries? We build walls up and then we can make a prison for ourselves within those walls. They are often less protective and more about just keeping things out, and it can then shield us, and then we cannot be seeing the world clearly because we're surrounded by that wall. But if we have boundaries, our fence is out there, we can see it. You can sit on your porch, you know, on your rocking chair with your shotgun, and you'll always be able to protect yourself. You can see everything coming from all directions. So this is the difference between boundaries and walls. So even though things are chaotic, even though people are all over the place, you can still find that happy, aligned place. And Smoky Quartz is a good help. Does that make sense? So it's an earth energy stone. It will help you to connect to the energy of earth or the element of earth as well. And I would highly recommend cleansing it with natural earth, burying it in the dirt, putting it in some grass next to a tree or whatever. Sound good? All right, next up, clear quartz. Now, this very specifically, if you don't have this type of clear quartz, it's fine. Any clear quartz is fine. Herkimer diamond, whatever. Any clear quartz that you can work with is amazing. Clear quartz, as we know, is programmable. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. It's the master crystal, the master healer. It's going to work on all of these things at once. It's the storm element, so it's working on all of the elements together to create bigger things. It's helping us to define what we want and make it happen. So because we're very much working on balancing our will, balancing our confidence and our self-assurance and what we want for ourselves, and that can change day to day, clear quartz is a fabulous friend to work with because you can program it each day with what you need and what's going on and what's happening around you. This is a really cool one because in the middle it's got both chlorite and lodolite inclusions, so it makes it what's known as garden quartz or shaman quartz. This gives us the ability to sort of see the beauty in our lives, to delve into our lives, and gives us an amazing perspective. It helps us to find beauty in the madness, find order in the chaos, as it were. So good clear quartz energy, you can't go wrong with it. But look into lodolite quartz, shaman quartz, or green phantom quartz, chlorite quartz. There's a couple of different names, but the green phantom or chlorite quartz is one, the lodolite and shaman quartz is another. So yeah, perspective is a good one, and as I said, clear quartz, green phantom quartz. So it forms layers. Basically, as the quartz grows, there's an inclusion of the chlorite or the green phantom, as it were. I don't have anything handy or close, unfortunately, but it basically, you'll see like the natural termination of the quartz crystal within a crystal. Here, you can sort of, with this one, you can see when this grows into the other side, there's sort of that point in there that sort of shows that there's another crystal. So imagine that that's like a green layer in a clear crystal. It looks really cool. And yeah, it helps us to look at how we can heal ourselves as well. All the quartzes are good. I'm going to talk about a couple more quartzes. Celestial quartz is a really interesting one. This is a cool variety of celestial quartz that comes from Mongolia. I think it's really, really interesting. It's quartz that basically grows in layers upon itself. It's the simplest way to explain celestial quartz. So it helps us to delve into and understand the layers of our own lives, the layers of our past lives, the layers of the karmic patterns that we're here to clear and work with, the layers of our emotions, the layers of our spirituality, all the different layers of ourselves. We can dive into them and understand them and peel them back and then reestablish ourselves within them. So if you want to really sort of take spiritual meditation to another level and delve into yourself and really work on yourself, celestial quartz, amazing. There's some amazing celestial quartzes that you can get from all around the world. Australia's got some. You can have celestial amethyst, celestial citrine, celestial smoky. It's one of those ones that you can find everywhere, so it's a really good one to work with too. Celestial's another storm element stone, and I find it can be, what's the right word? It can really be quite, I want to say, monumental in the way you can bring your own self-awareness in. I find of a lot of crystals out there, celestial quartzes have this profound shifting effect. And it feels like it works in a way that's like, you know how Moldavite has that shifting effect, but like celestial quartz is a lot safer. It's a lot more comforting. It's a lot more balanced in the way that it does that. Yeah. Another type of fabulous quartz, Brandberg. This is a Amethyst Brandberg that I'm going to chat about real quick. Anything that's Brandbergy is going to really give us that spiritual comfort. It helps us to really find harmony with our soul and how we feel and how we're existing. I find it can be so empowering and also like bringing in peace and calmness, if that makes sense. Really beautiful. I find anytime I work with Celestial, I feel like I have that Brandberg, I have that mix of feeling like I can move slowly and quickly at the same time. I feel like it gives that sort of juxtaposition of disharmony and harmony together. Yeah, love it, love it. It's sort of one of those, I'll work on any situation you want me to work on, especially when sort of spiritual stuff's involved. I hope that makes sense. I also want to have a quick chat about, I'm moving from off camera across. Tell me if I'm working too fast and I'm talking too fast. If you want me to answer any questions on anything, please, please. Just say so. Now, this is something that a lot of you should have. Rainbow fluorite. It doesn't actually matter if it's rainbow fluorite. It matters more, like rainbow fluorite's amazing, but if you have blue, purple, sort of those higher chakra fluorites, amazing. Green fluorite, also helpful. All the fluorites are good. Fluorite is a stone of learning and memory and enhancing our memory. It helps us to put what we've learned into action. Does that make sense? This was the fluorite wand that I utilized to get my gemology degree. It was in my pencil case every lesson. During my exams, it was in my pocket, and I asked it to help me retain everything, and then be able to recall it and bring it out there again. Fluorite has that amazing ability. So if you're really, because of the mental overwhelm, because of so much going on, because there's so much stress and pressure and anxiety and, right? There's a lot going on. This, it's like a USB that can help you to remember the important things. So it can be a really good one to have with your calendar, your diary. It can be a really good one for sort of day-to-day activities when you're sort of on the go and you need to remember important things. And yeah, if anyone is studying, I can't recommend it enough. Love rainbow fluorite. It is, yeah, gorgeous. Gorgeous. All right, next one I'm going to, that's a air element stone, but rainbow fluorite, it likes a rainbow cleanse. All right, now Damburite is what I'm going to chat about next. This is my favorite way to describe Damburite. It is like selenite on crack. So it is going to, you've worked with selenite, it's beautiful and calming and purifying and opening of the crown and serene and all of that magic. Damburite is like a laser focused form of that. It is like, but in the highest, best, amazingest, most vibration. Like, I just can't get enough of Damburite. This is probably my largest piece, but I have another smaller one handy. I love, as I said, Damburite because this shape, this beautiful spade or shovel sort of shape, really helps it to just cut through the shit, cut through the crap, break through the barriers and the quagmire and the muck and the fog and all of that stuff. And it just brings an illumination. It really opens the mind, it really opens the crown, it really helps us to access our higher self, the higher chakras, our angels' guides, and all that amazing energy that's up and out there in the world, so we can feel more aligned with the universe. We can feel more aligned and lessen the chaos. It can be quite a high vibration, so it can sort of be a little bit ungrounding if you're not used to it. So I would highly recommend, if you haven't worked with it before, to work with a grounding crystal as well, just to give you that balance. But I adore how Damburite feels. It's very uplifting. It's very, for me, it sort of helps not to turn the feelings off, but to help us feel less attached to our human feelings. So we can do and make bigger steps spiritually. Does that make sense? This is a Mexican Damburite. Lots of beautiful Damburite comes from Mexico and Russia. You can get, this is a soft pink, even though you can't really tell. Oh, there we go, with the paper behind it, you can sort of see a bit of the pinky tinge. It's got a soft pink. There's also beautiful golden Damburite as well out there in the world. All right, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep rolling. I've got a lot to talk about. And if you want me to keep talking, I'm going to keep talking. Yes, definitely. I've been working with Damburite for almost as long as I've been working for crystals. It was one of those ones that I sort of discovered in that first year, and I really have just always thoroughly enjoyed it. I've got it all over the place in a few different grids. I love it. It's, as I said, it's so uplifting, and especially if you're struggling mentally and wanting to break through, I find it super helpful. All right. Cleansing with Damburite is air or storm. So a good windy day, full moon is fine. Yeah, simple, don't overcomplicate it. All right, I'm going to talk about Lemurian Quartz next. Now, speaking of cleansing, we don't cleanse Lemurian Quartz. Why? Because we wipe the information if we do. So try not to cleanse your Lemurian Quartz if possible. If you have done like a big cleansing on a piece of Lemurian Quartz, what you want to do is to put it sort of in some earth under the moon and ask the memories to return, or the information to return to the stone. And you need that combination of the earth and the moon together. All right, so Lemurian Quartz is that amazing programmable and programmed stone that they find throughout South America mainly. And it's got the horizontal striations on the quartz crystals. What it has done is it's basically holding on to that very spiritual, feminine, psychic energy from that time. So it helps us to feel more, what's the right word? Less like we have to control everything, less like we have to force everything, less like we have to live in that hyper-masculine way. We're able to be more receptive and intuitive and feely. I love it. Lemurian Quartz, so this is Anubis and Horus. These are carved by Igor de Souza, which is Leandro's son, who I've gotten most of my sculpts from. Horus with that perspective and helping us to understand from the higher realms. Anubis helping us to understand the processes of death and rebirth. So they're a bit special. If you want to charge Lemurian Quartz, I would just work with something like selenite, or a cluster of clear quartz, or even just some time in nature, without really being in direct sunlight or anything like that. Just a little bit of refreshment, as it were, as we like to. All right, now there's another really important one that I'm going to talk about. And as far as finding direction and order in chaos, this is actually probably one of the best to work with. Now, this is Charaite. Charaite comes from Siberia, near the Charo River in Russia, and it only comes from that place. Charaite is known as the path of service stone. It's known as the energy that helps us to know what it is that we're here to do in the world. But it also helps us to follow our intuitive gut feeling and sort of see the signs that spirit is showing to us along the way, whilst also listening to our gut and making decisions in that way. So it's very it's good for like training yourself psychically and spiritually and intuitively. It sort of really forces you to get out of your logical mind and out of that overthinking into what's the universe trying to tell me? What's the universe trying to show me? What is it trying to help me experience and understand? It works on, I think, every chakra except the heart and the throat. And it works on the earth star, the base, the sacral, the solar plexus, the third eye, the crown, the etheric. So it's giving us grounding, it's giving us past information, it's giving us the history of the earth and all of that magic. It's giving us grounding and support and security and creativity and fire and passion and fun and the ability to be a leader and to be following our will and to feel confident within ourselves. And then we bypass the feelings, the need to talk about it. And we go into the ability to open our mind and see psychically and spiritually, as well as with our wisdom and our learned knowledge, as well as then opening ourselves up to the universe and all of that good stuff. Hello, good to see you. So if you are sort of struggling to really connect to what the universe is trying to tell you, if you're like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to put what I've been learning into play? How am I supposed to trust the signs? What are even the signs? Charaite is wonderful. I love it. I'll show you one of my favorites. This is my phone, my spiritual phone. When I need to have a chat, hold it up to my ear and just chat to my guides. So yes, if you need a little bit of, let's just the feelings a little bit. I know it can be a lot. Life can be a lot. I know. It's okay. Let's take a moment. Let's open ourselves up and see what's out there. Charaite. It is another storm element stone. So storm or the beach is perfect. All right. Next one I'm going to talk about is my big Uber one here. Oh, it's so heavy. So this is Epidote. This is, I would say, one of the most underappreciated minerals that exist. I would say energetically it's been one of the most profound that I've ever worked with, and I think because of its sort of murky, dark green color, it's overlooked. But it's a stone that is like, if you're going to work with it, it's going to work with you. It responds to your energy. So if you actually work with it in a negative mindset, it kind of throws it back in your face. And it makes you experience it even louder and even more intensely. And it's because you've put it out there. It's reflecting it back on you. But if you're ready to transform and change patterns and do things better and speak to yourself better and change all of that amazing energy in a positive shift, it will then amplify that and send that out there. So it's actually, it's like that sort of, I'm just going to let you work it out for yourself kind of conversation that you have with your parents. You know, you'll realize eventually that, you know, you can only do that so long, and then you've got to change your attitude, and then things will change, right? Epidote is not for the faint of heart. It's not going to baby you, and it's not going to let you get away with anything. This one spoke to me from a long way away and made me come and find it and collect it and buy it, and yeah, I have no regrets. Now, if you want to, and I love it because it actually came from an old collection. That's an old collection. And it says, E-Ep 51.3, which is cool. And I'm pretty sure it's Northern Territory Epidote, which is amazing as well. Yeah, it does have a bit of a heart shape as well. Oh, it's so heavy. There is... I love green, dark green energy like this because it's right in the heart as well as in the base. So it's giving us the ability to make changes in our physical reality that come from the heart. Does that make sense? So if you want to work with Epidote, but maybe you're a little bit intimidated by it, maybe it's a bit scary, maybe it's a bit confrontational for you, look for prehnite. So prehnite often has these little dark green bits in it, exactly like malachite and moldavite. Dark green crystals they're ballsy, and they're not here to mess around. If you find some prehnite, you will very often find Epidote growing in it or with it. So prehnite being a stone of peace and harmony and serenity, you can actually soften the blow, as it were. So have a look out for prehnite with Epidote inclusions if you're struggling to connect with Epidote by itself. This is an earth element stone, so cleanse it in the earth, in Mother Earth, with some good green earthy energy. Yeah, it's definitely gonna make stuff happen for you. All right, speaking of, it would be remiss of me not to chat about moldavite tonight. So I do have it on the list. It is here because it is the stone of rapid spiritual transformation. So it's going to make things happen. It's going to move things along. It's going to shift the fuck out of you if you're not ready to shift yourself. It's going to bring it all up. It's going to bring it out. It's going to make you look at it. It's going to make you understand it. It's going to make you integrate it and be aware, not be afraid. It might make you a bit emotional. It might make you feel a few feelings. You might feel some sort of way. But it's not doing it because it hates you. It's doing it because shit needs to shift and it wasn't right in the first place. Does that make sense? So I've said this before. If you work with moldavite, pair it with Herkimer Diamond, my beautiful mermaid and bear drop. Herkimer Diamond is the feminine balance, the yin to its yang, and it gives us the ability to find the clarity that the chaotic energy can bring. Does that make sense, everyone? All right, I'm going to keep moving. Libyan Desert Glass next. Now, Libyan Desert Glass is, I think, even better because of the way that it helps to bring out the divine leader. It is a stone of divine leadership. So it's going to help you lead your life in the best way possible, in a way that your higher self and the divine, the whole universe wants you to live it. Bringing through the crown into the solar plexus. So it's bringing that moldavite-like transformation into the solar plexus. What's amazingly different about Libyan Desert Glass compared to moldavite? So moldavite fell 14 million years ago, went through the explosive energy, and then it's been etched by water. And it's through the etching of the water that it has the texture, and that's why it affects the heart, goes into the emotions, that water energy that it has worked with. Libyan Desert Glass, 28 million years ago, and then another 12 million years where it has sort of come under, and tumbled around the Sahara for 12 million years. 14 million, almost as long as moldavite's been around, Libyan Desert Glass has been tumbling around those dunes of the Sahara. So it's been dealing with wind and sun, wind and sun, wind and sun, a little bit of rain sometimes, mostly wind and sun, tumbling. So it's been through it. It's been through some extreme weather, some extreme stuff, and still it is beautiful and still it shines. Like, yeah, truly a profound energy to help you live for yourself. And because of the whole moldavite effect of moldavite getting more expensive, Libyan desert glass is now getting more expensive. So it's just going to keep doing that. So yeah, get onto it if you can. Alrighty. The next one I'm going to talk about, I'm going to stay with a couple of Yellowstone. Solar plexus. It's really important at the moment. The idea of leading our life and following our will and listening to it is really, really important. It's very, very common. It's very leonine. But also because of the fact that all these challenges are happening, all this retrograding is happening, all of this stuff is coming up, it is important that we don't let our feelings overwhelm us, we don't let our thoughts overwhelm us, and we allow ourselves to be a bit more instinctual. Gut psychic energy, instinct, use it. All right? Okay. This is golden labradorite. Not to be confused with labradorite that has a yellow flash that is often called that. This is actually called golden labradorite. Its gemological name is bitonite. It is a form of feldspar, the same as labradorite in those layers, but it just has no color and it has no flash. This actually comes from Queensland, and there's a few other locations around the world. And so it brings labradorite's energy to a place of simplicity, because labradorite can be very complex. It can kind of work on a lot of things at once. Golden labradorite goes, okay, we're going to bring that magic. We're going to bring that new excitement, that change. We're going to bring that possibility right into the will. We're going to make you go, oh, that's what I need to do to change. Oh, I think I need to just do this. I just need to do it. I just need to do it. And you can't ignore the feeling. You just got to do the thing. Do the thing. Hashtag do the thing. Golden labradorite is such a stone of that. It gives us the confidence and kind of, I don't want to say the disregard of our feelings and our thoughts, but it gives that I'll ask questions later kind of attitude in the best way, because we need that. It is a solar stone, so you cleanse it with sunshine. It's hard to get, but it's not super expensive. It's one of those weird ones. But if I see some in the future, I'll definitely try and access it for you. This piece I've had for about a decade. I bought it because I thought it was Libyan desert glass. And then when I got it out of the dark cabinet that it was in, I realized, oh, this is a different material. And I still love it. They have that similar sort of soft yellow thing. Soft yellow stones they just are a vibe. They're just a beautiful vibe. Same as like natural citrine. Same vibe. All right. I am digressing. Now, a couple more bright stones to work with. This is my brand new one that came today and I'm so excited. Helios. So this is an incredible etched Helios from the Ukraine. And just like Moldavite, it's gone through that water etching where over however many years... Oh, come on, do the... Oh, hold on. I'm just going to go from one to the other. See how amazing it is. Beautiful, beautiful energy. It is named for Helios, the sun god. It is, as we know, right in that solar plexus. Helios specifically, because it's a beryl, and because it has that six-sidedness, because it has that sort of strength, it brings that strength to the will center. It brings harmony and balance, six-sided shapes, balance masculinity and femininity together. So it's a great way of bringing harmony, yin-yang balance to whatever it is. Aquamarine to the throat, emerald to the heart, Helios to the solar plexus. I have one in my ear as well that I wear pretty much every day. This is a Brazilian Helios. And an interesting scientific fact is there's like one ion of difference between Helios and aquamarine. One is Fe2+, which is your aquamarine, and then Fe3+ is your Heliodor. So it's got a slightly higher concentration of iron. So a little bit of a science fact for you. So special. So if you really want to tap into strengthening any energy, chakra energy, your beryls are, just amazing to work with. Really solid and really powerful to help us. If you want to break it down in the most easy way, Heliodor will make you think like the sun. I'm going to get up, I'm going to shine, get to my peak, set, rest. Like, that simple. If you need to sort of have that mindset sometimes, I'm just going to get up, I'm going to do my thing, live my life, go to bed, and I'm not going to be worried about anyone else. I'm going to be just far enough away from everyone that I can help you out, and also not have you come and touch me. I love it. There's a danger that comes with stones that connect to the sun, because if you get too close, the whole Icarus effect will come in. So it's important to find that balance of making good, strong gut instinctual decisions and then not being too hard and not being too explosive and fiery too. This is where these stones really help us to understand that sometimes we just have to make decisions, and we're not being bad, we're just doing what we need to do to live our lives and to shine in our best way. Does that make sense, everyone? Pure sunshine energy, cleanse it in the sun. On any of these sun crystals, you want the good sunny days, but also the summer solstice is the best day to cleanse them as well. All right, one more obviously yellow stone, and then a couple of orange ones. So this is called Calcopyrite. And I like to think of Calcopyrite as like the really fun sibling to pyrite. They are very much related. Very much related. But Calcopyrite is much less organized and structured and much more here to have fun. I find it very Sagittarian. I find it very about free will, and there's a lot of that at the moment. We're trying to find that sense of freedom. We're trying to find that sense of balance with our decisions and with our will center, and to live a life that gives us that balance and harmony within happiness. So if pyrite can be a little bit too serious or a little bit too organized, and you need a little bit less organization to do the thing, Calcopyrite's great. As anyone that's a mutable sign, I think will find this helpful. And I think I think having fun's important at the moment. So Calcopyrite, have a little look into that if you're interested. All right, couple of orange ones. Now, Topaz. You all know I love Topaz. Imperial Topaz specifically. Imperial Topaz is I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be the top of my game. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it. You may call it arrogance. I call it confidence. I would say if Imperial Topaz had anything to say to anyone, that's what it would say. But it's also here to celebrate you, celebrate your good, celebrate the things that make you you. And it's very, very right in the gut, right into the creative center, right into the sacral. So it's actually even more driven on passion and creativity and intimacy and pleasure. I love it. Love it. It's good fun. Yes, lots of Saggy insight. Lots of Saggy insight. We're different. We're a different breed. We're driven differently. So it's important to sort of do your thing, live your life, and be you. And this is very much a live your best life, be yourself kind of stone. I adore it. You don't need a big piece to get a lot of energy. It's one of those ones that you can work with small pieces and have really quite high vibes. It's very different to blue and clear topaz. They're very different in their energy to your orange or imperial, so try working with them all to sort of feel that out. All right, now this one is probably on this table. I would argue this might be one of the harder ones, probably the hardest one to access. So I can probably guarantee that you'll all look at this and go, I have no idea what that is. And that's okay. When I bought this, I thought it was something else, and it was labeled something else. And it wasn't until I got it home and I used my still learning about gemology degree to look at it properly, I found it wasn't what it was. So just a little thing for you. This is called mimetite. So mimetite lives within a family of crystals, so it's related to both pyromorphite and vanadinite. So some of you may have heard of vanadinite. I always say it wrong. Vanadinite. Anyway. Mimetite is kind of about not really thinking about things. It's not really about the thought process. It's about the experience. How are we experiencing things? How are we interacting with this? How is the human self feeling this? Does that make sense? Like, if you sometimes feel that disconnect of engagement, like how do I engage the spiritual and the human and enjoy it? How do I make decisions that are both, you know, good for me as a person, as well as good for me as a being, as well as good for my soul, as well as those around me? Very complex, I know, but it's like that's kind of sometimes how we feel. We can get very existential and worry like that. And it's kind of good to get out of our head and into our gut when we are thinking like that. It will give us the ability to see how we fit in with relationships, see whether or not we're using our creativity in the best way, whether or not we're following our passions as much as we could. It sort of brings that stuff up so you can address it and deal with it. But I also find it to be very empowering of the creative. It helps you to be more creative in the way that you do things and think about things and the decisions that you make. So you can be, more creatively driven, which I think is important at the moment. Logic's not really that helpful. We need as much sort of wisdom and understanding and knowledge and logic that's there, and we need to be then using that to make good gut decisions and instinctual decisions as well. It's another fire element stone, so it's going to be cleansed with fire, sunshine, candlelight. Again, tricky to access, but beautiful to work with. I bought this one in Glastonbury at a really cool little shop, but yeah, it was labelled as spessartine garnet. So you never know what you're going to get sometimes. All right, we're going to go on a slight shift of energy now, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 more to talk about. So obviously selenite. So this is beautiful Western Australian selenite that comes from the Granny Smith mine, I think, out near Kalgoorlie, which is really cool. Beautiful Western Australian selenite. Purifying, cleansing, removing of negativity and all of that good stuff. It's also known as window selenite for obvious reasons. Need some cleansing? Selenite is always your friend. Full moon energy, selenite is your friend. Trying to find clarity, selenite is your friend. Trying to meditate, selenite is your friend. Trying to Remove negative energy, selenite is your friend. Trying to heal your emotions, selenite is your friend. Need to work on healing physical parts of the body, selenite is your friend. Do you want me to keep going? Work with selenite, everyone. Whether it be selenite, whether it be Iceland, whether it be satin spar, whether it be desert rose, doesn't matter what type of selenite it is. It's all good stuff. Peach, orange, it's all good. All right, I'm going to talk about this beauty next. This is another amazing Western Australian specimen. This is Amazonite that comes from the Gascoyne. So Amazonite is related to moonstone and labradorite and sunstone. It is the stone of the warrior's heart. And we've all been very, I would say, challenged of our heart and of our feelings and of our emotions. We're being pushed and pulled and all of that sort of stuff at the moment. And that's okay. It happens. Your beautiful, beautiful Amazonite helps you to find that harmony, that balance. It helps you to be heart-centered and heart-driven, and also to sort of fight for what is yours. I love Amazonite so much. This is such a beautiful piece. Good hefty chunk. You can get really deep, like emerald green Amazonite, soft Amazonite, you know, Brazilian, Russian. There is African, so Colorado is a location that's really well known for Amazonite as well. I find it to be empowering. I find it to be calming. I find it to be super confident, as well as very like quiet confidence. Yeah, beautiful. Very, very, even though this is more green for the heart, it's still very, very feminine. Very feminine. Think Amazon warrior, like feminine Amazon warrior, like strong but still feminine. Water to cleanse. I would say it's kind of somewhere between turquoise and chrysocolla. And here's another example of Amazonite and the color difference that you can find. Amazonite harmonizes as well with that magical energy of moonstone and labradorite and all of that sort of stuff as well. It just has a different, softer energy. Okay, another one in the heart, and this is another really interesting one, and another very distinctly Australian energy, and it's Sticktite serpentine or Atlantisite. So Sticktite is the purple, serpentine is the green, and this comes from Mount Dundas in Tasmania, or the Mount Dundas region, and it is helping us to understand and release and then not make the same mistakes again. It's got the ability, like there's great energy working with selenite, working with obsidian, working with serpentine, these crystals that help us to remove and release and let go. Very important. But often if we don't remove it and release it without really analyzing it and really giving us the time to understand what it was that we're removing and why, we can fall back into the same trap again. The same thing can happen all over again. And this is why I love this stone, because it gives us the ability to process and understand and see it clearly and go, so this comes from my mum and dad, or this comes from my grandparents, or this comes from that time at school where I dealt with whatever it was that I dealt with, and that's why that pattern is repeating, and that's why I haven't been able to clear it. Now I know, now I can clear it properly, now I'm not going to let it happen again and come back. Does that make sense? So especially when we're dealing with karmic stuff, past life stuff, trauma, PTSD, within our own lives, as well as from our lineage. Very, very, very helpful to clear. And again, beautifully Australian, coming from Tasmania. Nearly there at the end. Only a couple more to talk about. You've done well, whoever has been here from the start, and if anyone has joined in however long through, I'll be sharing this back to my Facebook wall, to my IGTV, and to my YouTube as well. All right, I'm going to talk about apophyllite next. Now, this is a beautiful cluster, and then this is a more obvious little pyramid that is we love apophyllite. I'm actually wearing my botanical apophyllite too. Apophyllite is like, it's almost almost this one I would go storm, because it's a combination of different energies. The apophyllite energy is kind of yeah, it's about finding peace and happiness. It's about letting go of stress and worry and letting your spirit fly. It can be both amazing for like day to day, feeling good, feeling calm, feeling happy and all of that, as well as for meditation, really downloading information, really accessing higher vibration and really finding that knowledge. It's a wind storm element, or air, sorry, wind element. So cleanse it with wind outside. And yeah, definitely for enhancing your meditation and enhancing that understanding of what the universe is trying to tell you. Apophyllite is so good, because it kind of opens up the mind, and because of its square shape, unlike the Damburite, which sort of cuts through, apophyllite sort of brings structure through and a bit of organization almost in a good way. Love it. Love it. Really great for meditating, as I said. Next up, a couple more left. Lepidolite. Once again, this is a Western Australian specimen. This is really great. It's got a bit of quartz on the back. So lepidolite is your lithium-bearing mica. So it's calming, it's soothing, it helps with grief, it helps with trauma, PTSD, it helps with all of that upheaval of the mind and the emotions together. And it helps us to find balance and harmony. It helps us to soothe all of those feelings, calm them down, relax them, helps us to breathe, helps us to let it all go and to find that peace. And then when you find that peace and relaxation, then you can have very profoundly transformative, like inspirational aha moments in the mind. So this is a great one for like shutting out the noise, all of that disturbance, and then find your peace. I love it. Can't overlook lepidolite. All right, that's an air element stone or wind for cleansing. Another similar vibe is chevron amethyst. Chevron amethyst is white milky quartz and amethyst together. So it's blending, combining the crown and the third eye, and it's opening it up and giving it so yeah, it's polished and raw. That one. Yeah, so this is the white and the amethyst together, so it really blends the crown and the third eye. It helps us to process higher information and understand higher information. So it's a great one for understanding your dreams, for meditating, for downloading, for bringing through that sort of energy and activating the psychic channel. It's a very helpful energy. It's very, I find it very calming, very calming. Couple left, nearly there. Yeah, I did it all at the start, my love. I did it at the start, so I'll be sharing this video back. So if you want to have a little chat about it, or I can have another chat about it at the end. Just to nearly round off, last couple of crystals. This is ruby. Because we're still in the sign of Leo, we're still working on passion and confidence and self-assurance and feeling good about ourselves. Ruby is that stone. So you work with your ruby, Use it when you need to feel a bit of that fire, if you're feeling a bit tired, if you're feeling a bit flat, feeling a bit of struggle connecting to that rah. Leo is going to be your friend. Definitely your friend. That's all good. I'll be sharing it back once I've finished Ren, so you can watch it back if you like. I'm sure your understanding of the astrological stuff is probably going to be a little bit more deep than mine anyway. Last official one, Celestite. Now, you could probably work with Angelite as well if you have Angelite and not Celestite, but I find Celestite is a slightly specifically more different energy. So Celestite helps us to ground spiritual energy into the physical realm, and it helps us to uplift our physical body into the spiritual realm, and it has that transference of energy. It helps to purify and cleanse the aura, and it helps to cleanse space as well as our soul. So it's giving us the ability to remove all of that stuff that's holding us back from feeling our best and being our best selves and our best spiritual self. And it really gives us connection to our higher self, to our spirit guides, to our angels, and all of that good stuff that's out there in the world as well for us. I find it really good for creating a meditation space or a healing space or a spiritual space. Celestite can be one of the most amazing energies. Like if you have a cluster of amethyst, a cluster of Celestite is just as good. It's another air or wind element stone, so really great for the mind. Even though it has that soft blue, so it does help us with communication, it's kind of more auric energetically, if that makes sense. And it's great because you feel it. It's heavy. It has what is called heft because it's got strontium. Strontium makes it that soft, beautiful blue color, but it also gives it weight. So sometimes we need to feel something to feel it. It sort of gives us that, if that makes sense. So it can also help us to like physicalize spiritual signs and feel more like we're connecting to what the universe is trying to tell us. And now finally, this is just a really special little specimen that I want to show you because all of its energies kind of come together for something quite interesting. So this is a Namibian, this ruby. I think this is, I think it could be Tanzanian, but it may be another part of East Africa. Forgive me for not knowing where it is. I can't remember where they all come from. I do try. So this specimen that comes from Namibia has rainbow fluorite on it. It has muscovite mica, golden mica on it. It has black tourmaline on it. And it also has goshenite or clear beryl. So that is a clear beryl. There is some fluorite, golden mica, black tourmaline, and there's even a little bit of smoky quartz as well. This is one of those incredible, amazing, random specimens that just comes out of the world sometimes. The fluorite is giving us the access to the mind and what we're learning. The muscovite helps us to connect to the will center. The goshenite is really opening us up to thinking for ourselves and thinking clearly for ourselves. The black tourmaline is cutting the crap, cutting the bullshit, getting everything gone, so you can do what you need to do for yourself. Really, a really special thing. I was nearly a terrible greedy person. There was 3 clusters that came from the same place. This was the biggest, and there were 2 smaller ones that were similar, but they didn't have all of the energy. I almost bought all 3. I was almost greedy and bought all 3, and I was like, no. Just get one and let the other ones go to someone because they're quite special. But if you look up Namibian minerals, that's where a lot of really amazing aquamarines come from as well. There's some really cool stuff that comes out of there. What's known as alien eye fluorite, which these guys kind of show you. They've got color zoning in them, which is really cool. And good black tourmaline, beautiful black tourmaline as well. That comes from there. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes Mother Nature has just done the job for us. Look for specimens. Honestly, go out there and just look for specimen minerals that have combinations, because they are naturally going to give you combined energies. For example, this ruby, fuchsite, and kyanite all together, like 3 different amazing things all together. Quantum Quattro, Super 7, Auralite 23, you know, these ones that have different energies layered together. Never turn away inclusions, never turn away intricacy and mixed up minerals, because when they're a bit mixed up, when they're a bit together, it's for a reason. It's because they're going to work together for you. Whew. I think that's it. I think I've covered everything on the table. I think I've covered everything. And they all sort of fit into the ideas of the fact that Uranus being retrograde is helping us with integrating what we've been going through in the last couple of years, helping us to sort of deal with all of the upheaval and all of the strangeness and all of the weirdness, and really giving us the chance to not reassess, but sort of go, okay, how am I going to go forward with what I now know? How am I going to make better decisions as I go along that's going to benefit me as a part of the whole? There's that combination of both individual, self, personal, and then community, the whole, and being a part of it. Does that make sense? It's a bit tricky, but it's about figuring out that by doing for you, you do for everyone else. But making decisions that also are thinking about the collective too, and not being like too selfishly driven, being self-full, but not selfish. I hope that makes sense. And then the full moon on Sunday, purge, release, cleanse. Close this portal of energy that we opened on the last full moon. Let yourself find that harmony and balance and confidence in your own decisions and what you're doing. Leo, confidence, self-assured, family-orientated, passion-driven. Aquarian, equality, thought, expansive, different, change. Transformational in the best way of the mind. Hey, because of what we've been going through over the last 18 months to 2 years, we've been learning, we've been transforming our lives, been forced to. The universe is forcing ourselves to change. So it's about integrating that change and then going, how am I going to make it part of my life? How are we going to make decisions that are going to be good for me, that are then going to help others? Decisions that are going to be both personally beneficial and then also beneficial to the world. Does that make sense, or make more sense? Any other questions? I've been going for, I don't even know how long I've been talking for. Oh, well over an hour. Well over an hour. That's why I'm a bit... Ugh. All these crystals in front of me making me go ping. But yeah, hopefully that all makes sense. Oh, thank you. You're very, very welcome. Feel free to watch it back if you want to go back over things if you need to, or watch it back from the start. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. I hope that made sense. As I said, if you didn't watch it from the start, go back to the start, watch it from the beginning. Hopefully it will be helpful. Yeah, I needed to sort of get back to myself before I got back into it. And this being my first week back of work, back into it, I think has been good. You're very welcome. Always happy to hold space, always happy to share information and all of that sort of stuff and pass on what I know. As I said, if you want to watch it back, watch it back. If you want to tag your friends and say, hey, watch this, feel free. It'll be on my Facebook wall. It'll be on my Instagram TV as well as my YouTube. yeah, otherwise, thank you all for joining in and taking time out, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I hope the intense energies don't get you too much. Create space for yourself, take time, and know that even though it can seem like a lot, we can always find our own way through. All right, I'm going to go. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, it's time to go. The crystals are falling over. Namaste, stay safe and stay sane. Peace out, everyone. Lots of love. Bye.